when I reviewed it. I felt something right there to understand that those people could be that merciful. And so Paul says, therefore, now that you understand your salvation, therefore you understand the mercies of God for you. As you understand this now, he says, worship. Worship. He is talking about our response to understanding what God has done for us. Our response is simply worship. What does it mean to worship? What does it mean to worship something? You dedicate your whole life to it. That's what worship is. By the way, in our society, people worship a lot of things. Boy, there's people right now down on their knees praying and worshiping that they get elected on Tuesday. You know? They really, there's people involved, if it's by human nature, that will give anything to have power and political position. To actually worship position. You can worship a lot of things. Paul says if you understand all this, you now need to, and what kind of worship is it? It's spiritual worship. And notice what he says. How do we do that worship? Through three areas. We worship. Three areas. First of all, he says, present your what? Bodies. Now, right now, Paul is going completely against Greek thought. And half those people listening to him had come out of paganism, were affected by the Greek thought that were in Rome. And how does the Greek thought treat the body? It's just evil, it's just something we hang on to. And it doesn't matter how you treat your body, because they are no significance whatsoever. Greek thought is, it's the mental capacity, your spirit, the mental capacity, it is all that's important. Paul says no. Paul says you worship, number one, through your what? Through your bodies. What's the next thing that you worship? Verse 1, spiritual worship. What is spiritual worship? You worship God through your what? Your spirit. Another word for that is your soul, your spirit. And then how else do you worship God? By the renewing of your what? Mind. And so Paul is saying that true worship to God, if you understand what he's done for you, true worship involves all three. Your body, your soul, your mind. It has to be involved in worship. 1 Corinthians 6:19, Paul also reminded us that your body is a temple of what?
Holy Spirit.
That's where the Holy Spirit dwells. In your body. And so to Paul it's important that all three of these things, in body, mind, and soul, all three. In other words, with your whole being. Now I'm going to stop right here, these three areas. There are some people who have chosen only one of the three. And let's look at all three of them. Body, okay? There are some people who have chosen their whole focus of worship to center around what they eat and don't eat. Right?
Right.
And they have a spiritual heartbeat in their hearts. There are some people, let's go to the other side. There are some people who their worship is entirely for the mind, intellectually, doctrinally, what they do believe, but again, do not have the other what? Two elements. Now let's go to the spiritual side. There are some people who just say, no, it's just your what? Just your spirit. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just be what? Just be what?
Christian.
Spiritual. Just be spiritual. That's all it counts. Just be spiritual. What's Paul say? Effective worship has to involve what? All three. And they're all important. They are a unity. All three. And so, he talks about a living and holy sacrifice in worship.